Welcome back. This is National Geographic Weekend. I'm Boyd Matson. Time now for Wild Chronicles, a part of the show where I share some stories of my own travels for National Geographic. And because of the place I was recently in Macedonia and the little adventure I went on, I thought we needed a little extra help this week. We needed Marcus Mandelson to come in and provide a little gospel music. Because, folks, we're going to church today. In fact, we're not just going to one church. We're going to as many as possible because in Macedonia, in the town of Ohrid, a town of only 55,000 people, they told me they have 365 churches. That means you could go to one every day, a different one every day for an entire year. And for some people, that would cover the rest of their church-going needs for a lifetime. But I didn't have a year. So I wanted to see how many of the 365 churches could I visit, go inside, see what they had to offer, do a little survey in one day. And the guide agreed to take me to as many as possible. Now, the good news is the churches in Ohrid, Macedonia are so prolific that they're more ubiquitous than Starbucks or 7-Elevens in the United States. They're literally on every corner. They're across the street from each other. On one street, there was a church dedicated to sickness for people who have malaria, people who were sick with malaria. Across the street was a church dedicated to fishermen. Ohrid being on a big lake, a lot of fishing takes place. I thought the only thing they could add is a church for people who were sick of fishing. But they have churches built in the present day. They have churches that go all the way back to the 4th century, churches up in caves from the early Christians, churches that were once inhabited by only one person, the hermit priest. Nobody ever went to the service there. And you could see they were so far up a mountainside, some of them I hiked up to and went into these little tiny caves, but with amazing murals on the wall, religious paintings all over these cave walls. But they were so isolated, no wonder the priests were hermits. They were just too far to come down and go to town. So I had my mission to go to as many churches as possible. Probably the most interesting churches, there were 3 of them at a monastery, interesting only from their location. They were next door to the hotel that was famous during the days of Tito for holding the Miss Yugoslavia contest. I thought, she's parading around in her bathing suit next to the people who are parading around with a connection to the earliest Christians, including an early 4th century cave church. But how many did I make it to? In one day, I made it to 35 churches. 35 Eastern Orthodox churches, 1 Catholic church, the only one in Ohrid, 4 mosques, just one to cover all the bases, and 1 coffee shop because, well, I just wanted to see if there was at least 1 coffee shop. Could they actually have all churches and no coffee shops? No, in Ohrid they had a few of those too. But the purpose was to see as many churches as possible, and we got to 35 of them. The only problem, in all of them, all the Eastern Orthodox churches, the thing I discovered, not a single pew in any of my 35. And I thought, how is this church going to draw Sunday attention if you don't have a place for people to sit down and take a nap while the preacher or the priest is talking? You've got to have some real dedicated congregation members because you got to stand up for the whole sermon. Anyway, that's my little tour of Ohrid, the church capital of Macedonia. Thanks for tuning in. This is National Geographic Weekend. Thanks to Marcus for giving us a little gospel music for our tour of the churches in Macedonia. Thanks to my producer, Justin O'Neill. Be sure and join us next time for another radio adventure.